What is going on, everyone? This is GBall, and I have a knife here to unbox for you coming in from ZT. This is a knife that I've always wanted to check out and never had the pleasure up until now. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome to GBall Vision. Feel free to drop a comment below. Let me know what your EDC loadout is for today. The knife we are going to be taking a look at, some of you are going to be very familiar with it, and some of you, this might be a brand new knife. It is called the 0350. ZT is a USA company, and that means this is going to be a fully made in the USA type of knife. They are sister companies with Kershaw under the Kai USA brand. All of ZT stuff is USA made, but not all of Kershaw's stuff is USA made. There is two separate lines for the Kershaw side, but at least two different lines. And ZT, these are going to be USA made, and that's something to consider throughout this entire unboxing. We are looking at a price point of $180, $190 up to $220. It just depends on the version that you're looking at. These are a little bit of an older design, but they are still widely available. There are some ZTs out there that they're just not produced anymore. This isn't going to be one of those. You can pick this up at Blade HQ and a plethora of other places. I'll try to have what I can linked down below in the description. We are going to be looking at an assisted knife right here. This knife was built to be a workhorse for you and have a very quick, dependable opening action. That way you can get it out of your pocket, flick it right open, and get to work. If you're going to pick up an assisted knife, Kershaw and ZT, they're going to be the top one or two choice for me personally. This blade is going to be S30V, which is a USA made steel, has a slight recurve to it on that big belly drop point blade. This knife has always struck me as like a mid-sized knife that is just huge. And I think it's actually a little longer than I suspected it to be. It's still not really long, but this is a good sized knife right here. It has a tall handle. It has that tall blade. We are looking at a 4-way interchangeable clip, so left or right, tip up or down. It's going to be steel, I believe. Yep. And then we are looking at steel liners as well. Very thick steel liners with thick G10. That's going to give this a nice thickness in the hand. If you have a little bit bigger paws, this will certainly fill them up nicely. We do have dual thumb studs and a rear flipper for the deployment. Now, the people who are engulfed with having fidget factor or needing to have that, I would say, you know, that's just fine, but that person's not ultimately necessarily looking for a knife they can strictly beat the hell out of and really use the knife. And I think there is a place for knives like this, no matter what kind of situation you're in. If you're a collector, if you're an enthusiast, and you're someone who, you know, routinely is using your knives, this has a perfect place as a knife that you can really use it and abuse it and not worry about doing so, because it's going to continue holding up. But it doesn't have that fidget factor that some knives do. The assisted feature is going to take away that closing action or that smooth closing action that a lot of knives have today. But you're going to get one hell of a deployment with this knife right here. I've maintained for the last couple of years that Kershaw and ZT do, you know, they're top two in my book. Probably, possibly number one, but if not number two when it comes to an assisted knife. Another huge draw to this knife is the fact that the blade is nice and tall, which I mentioned, but this is going to be a hollow grind, and we're going to see what that's all about here in a few moments, but this thing should be slicey as all hell. Let's get our Stanley tape measure out here and see what we're looking at in regards to our overall size. So from tip to butt, we are coming in there right at 7 3/4. just shy of 3.5 inches of cutting edge. We'll call it 3.4, and we could say 3.4 to 3.5 total blade. I'll bring out a couple of comparison knives here so you can get a better idea on the size of this guy. We have the Para 3 up top and the PM2 here on the bottom, and it's going to fall perfectly in between both the Para 3 and PM2. We'll pull out a couple of newer knives here for this set. We have the new Real Steel Vina. This is an integral G10 knife. Fantastic. And then we have the Vosteed Croc 329 here, which is a brand new release for them. Since I will ultimately switch this clip to a tip up carry, why don't we go ahead and do that quickly now. We'll use our off-grid driver, and what we'll do at this point, so we can cut it out for later, is do a hardware check. And I think we're going to see T6 here on the pocket clip, and that is right. And then it looked like T8 on the body. We'll check that here in one moment. Let's get this thing off of here. Don't worry, it should only take a minute. It should only take a minute. Let's see what we have here. They were in there good, but not, not too overly tight, which is nice. We don't want to have to struggle to switch the pocket clip around. I can already tell you that I'm going to really enjoy this knife right here. I'm not picky when it comes to a pocket knife. Do I enjoy a knife that has, good action and that sort of thing? For sure, I definitely do. But not every single knife that I own has to have that feature. Sometimes it's nice to just have a knife that you can grab, and it's one that it's going to get the job done. We forgot to check the rest of our hardware. We'll go with a T8 here. T8 on the pivot and T8 on the pivot and T6 for the body and the clip screws. This one, no matter what you want, is going to be stuck in its way. Let's see how the pocket clip works in and out of the pocket. That G10 is certainly going to be nice and grippy. Good retention on the way up. That G10 is going to keep this knife in place pretty well. Now, this is what I was getting at. I love, for a knife I'm going to be using all day long, on and off all day, I like to have really good access to the knife, and that is what ZT is going with here. You see a lot of companies that are USA made doing that because it is a knife that they want people to get out and use every day and have good access to it. You see Spyderco do it, Benchmade, ZT, a lot of companies do, and it's because from a user standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. You're going to have a lot of options with this pocket clip, left or right, tip up or down. Now what we're going to do is get the arch nemesis off the shelf, and we're going to do a weight check on this big feller. And I like to play a little game here on the channel with the new knives that come in. It is called Guess the Weight, where I attempt to guess the weight of the knife. But I invite you to play along. You can put your guess down in the comments, ounces or grams, whichever you prefer. Even if you already have a comment down there, go ahead and put your guess. And if you enjoy this type of content, you like knives and EDC, double check and make sure you are subscribed here to the channel. I'm going to give it a go here. I'm going to say that we're in the high fours. Boy, this is tough. Could be even more, guys. Boy, I don't want to go too high. I'm going to go 4.9. 4.9. Oh, I should have went higher. Damn. Damn. I got smoked. You'd think I don't do this shit ever. 174 grams, 6.1 ounces. It's just, man, I thought it was more than that. What is wrong with me? I just didn't want to go too high and look like a bozo. So I went too low and looked like a bozo. All that does, though, is not validate the morons who think I might be like cheating or something like that. We've proven that many times. Flip the camera up while I'm recording to show what I'm looking at. You know, that'd take all the fun out of it. And if I do see the weight prior to that part of the video or prior to the video, I say that in the video, and I still let you guys guess, though. But that just shows you right there that sometimes I'm a moron. So we're going to get the calipers out here, get a couple of measurements on the handle and blade. We'll start off with that beautiful handle thickness, just shy of 0.5, 0.49 there, and that's going to translate to 12.6 millimeters. We have our blade stock thickness coming in at 2.97, and that is 116 thousandths. We can flip that bad boy open to expose that hollow grind, and we'll get a behind the edge check here. See what we're looking at. 29 thousandths in that particular spot, and we'll get another one here. 27 thousandths in that particular spot. Let's see how this bad boy cuts out of the box. So here we have our catalog paper, which is the media that I always use to do this type of test. No, it doesn't tell us everything that we want to know, but it at least gives us an idea of how the knife should be and how it is cutting out of the box. This will be a great poking type knife. Let's see about that recurve area and how it goes into that belly. And if you have ever had an 0350 or handled one, used one, let everyone know down in the comments what you have thought of that knife. I know these have been insanely popular over the years. There's been many times where I almost picked one of them up. Many times, I should say. It is probably in my save for later cart on a couple different websites. They also have a tiger stripe version where the blade is black and gray. That one looks awesome. This one is awesome. And then they have one with tritium that I've seen, and there might even be others out there. Let's bring this bad boy up here and get a closer look at this thing. And if nothing else, this will be a nice refresher for people, and we can, get a real good idea of what the 0350 is all about. There's that beautiful recurved drop point blade. Not sure on the finish of this guy. If I can come up with it, I'll pop it up on the screen. I'm going to guess some sort of PVD. That would make the most sense when this knife was created, but it's going to be a good quality PVD or a good quality coating. There is certainly levels to all that stuff, just like a lot of things in life, and there's a great quality coating, various coatings, and then there's very horrible coating. So, there's levels to it, and this is going to be a good one here. The thumb studs are really nice. They always do an excellent job, in my experience, from Kershaw to ZT with their studs. They do good oversized and stepped types of thumb studs, and they just work beautifully. The flipper tab here has a tail off right at the very end. There's no jimping there, maybe one little jimp at the end, but it is not needed whatsoever here, in my opinion. You can light switch it, you can push button it. That thing is going to fire out of there nicely. Great access to the liner there. A slight chamfer, but nothing extravagant. Going to be easy to get to. Not going to be uncomfortable, but not the most comfortable liner I have come across. But it's not going to fatigue the thumb or anything like that. It's just I like a chamfered and jimped liner or lock bar. I think those not only look really good, but they also function really well. Ergonomics on this thing, in the standard grip, which is where you're pretty much going to be locked in, unless you're just, going for a little bit of reach or a quick cut. But the size of this, depending on your hand size, you'll be able to get up on that tip and belly if you have a little bit more detail or precise work you need to do. I like knives that I'm able to do that with. And, you know, a large majority of them are able to do that depending on the size of your hand and the size of the blade, obviously. Good thickness on the handle, very comfortable. This is purely a user knife here. Ken Onion design. I guess I didn't say that, I don't think. 4-way interchangeable pocket clip. Coming in USA made, which is what a lot of people really strive for or end up striving for. So this encompasses a lot. I think it's not going to be for everyone. It's, you know, nothing ever is for everyone. But this would make a great user knife. If you're someone who's looking for a quality folding knife that you can really beat on, you don't want to spend a ton of money on a knife, but you're still willing to put some coin down, you know, this would be a superb option. Now, ZT has other options as well that, you know, I could recommend in the non-assisted department. But here again, a knife like this, it's a little bit about convenience as well. And the ability to pull this out of the pocket and just lightly flick that flipper tab and the blade be out ready to go. It's just a little added convenience. And believe it or not, a lot of EMT, that type of service, police, military, all kinds of government branches, they use a lot of assisted knives like this, a lot of auto deploying knives, one or the other. And they're huge with that large genre of people, and it makes a lot of sense. I have 2 assisted knives in each vehicle just because of the simplicity. You don't have to really think about anything. It takes some steps out. So, you know, that's something I really appreciate about a assisted or auto type knife. Let's introduce the 0350 to the spine whacker. Let's get the spine whacker out here and we'll introduce the 0350 and it. Just because this knife is assisted does not mean that it's going to easily pass this test. We have had assisted knives pass and we have had assisted knives fail. We'll go ahead and give this a couple of tugs, see if we have any movement in there. I don't feel anything. We'll give it a light tap to get us going. A lot of people think just because it is assisted and has that spring in there that it's going to keep it locked up. That is not the case whatsoever. So let's see what this one's all about here. Sounds good. Close it and check it. Give it a couple of good shots here. Very good. It sounds like a tank. Very good. That is, as a matter of fact, we've had an assisted knife from Kershaw fail. Not quite the same as ZT, but it's pretty close to the same. And we're not doing that test to see if you can take this knife out and hammer a nail into a tree or anything like that. We just want to make sure that we're getting a good lockup with our locking folding knife. And I don't think we're going to have trouble out of this feller. Never had a ZT that has failed the spine whack test except for the 0562 titanium. That one had issues. You know, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, psychological and mechanical issues. But not this guy here. I like it. We're going to see, I'm going to see what this thing's all about. I'm going to start carrying this bad boy tomorrow. And that'll probably be in the pocket for quite a while. You'll have to let me know. What do you think of the 0350 here? What do you think of ZT, Kershaw, the last year or two, and the run that they have had? I've been ultra impressed with both of them. I've also been critical in some regards to certain pricing or certain things, but for the most part, they deserve to get their flowers for what they have done. Couple of tweaks, couple of things I'd like to see changed, or I'd like to see be different, but for the most part, they are one of the companies that makes me the most happy about what they're doing at this point in time. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Hit that thumbs up button for me. It truly helps me out. If you want to continue to see dope knife and EDC content on the daily, make sure you're subscribed here to the channel. I'd love to have you here. I'll pop up a couple of new videos that you have not seen yet. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.